Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth part of the beginner level series. In last video we checked or explored the 3D viewport editor in detail. We saw what are the tools we have, side panels we have, and how it is divided to different sections. In this video we will be creating some models. What are the different options we have to get those models in Blender. This is Jay from CJ Academy. Let's start it. Before we dive deep into the modeling, so I want you to enable one settings here. So this is mainly for the zoom functionality. So if you zoom in your system, it may not zoom to the mouse position. It may zoom from the central cursor. So for that you can go to edit preferences, go to navigation, and enable this zoom to mouse position. If you don't enable this, the zoom will be from the central position. So this is a nice feature. It's really helpful in a lot of uh, places, especially in the modeling section. Okay, so now we have enabled the setting. Now this is much more comfortable to zoom in and see. When it comes to modeling in Blender, you need to understand about three basic elements of a model or of an object. To understand these three basic elements, you have to pay attention to the status bar here. So now we are in object mode. Let's go to edit mode. I explained about this edit mode in the previous video also. What this edit mode does is this is where we build the model of a particular object. So there are two ways you can go. Either you can just directly click on modeling here, that will take you to edit mode, or you can go using the tab key. Tab key enables for the selected object, it will enter into the edit mode. So I prefer going through the shortcut key. It's really helpful to switch between edit mode and object mode. If you pay attention here, when I go from object mode to edit mode, you can see there are additional details has been mentioned. The three main elements, as I mentioned earlier, the three main elements of a model is vertices, edges, and faces. So these three are critical, and any object you see is built using these three key elements. And in Blender, you have a specific selection option in edit mode for these three elements. You can select a vertex or a edge or a face based on the option you select. And to quickly switch between these three modes, you can press 1, 2, 3. This is not the number key, this is the main number key is given above the alphabet. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so by default you can switch between these three. It's really powerful. And between the selections, what are these three main elements? So vertex is nothing but a point, edge is nothing but the formation or connecting point of two vertices, and face nothing but formation of vertices and edges. To see clearly, you can go to wireframe mode above here. So this also we saw in the previous video. So this is a vertex, and if I go for 2, this is the edge, and if I go for 3, this is the face. Okay, so these three are fundamental, and while modeling any object, this helps a lot for you. Okay, I'll show you how. Okay, now we'll go to object mode and come back to the model review. Let's create an object. I chose a flower vase to start with because it's a basic, it can be done quickly, and also we can cover a few things in modeling in Blender. So that's the reason why I chose this. We will build one flower vase, and we will build one torchlight and a tray, round tray, to place these two. Okay, maybe we can first build the round tray. It's pretty easy. You select the object, you remember the three main operations we explained. Let's go for scale. Let's expand it and resize it to a certain position. Yeah, this looks good. Now let's go to the edit mode. By clicking tab key, I go to edit mode. Now to make it as a round shape here, you can select for loop cut. Okay, loop cut nothing but it creates a loop around the mesh, and it divides the mesh into two different parts. So you can select loop cut, and the shortcut key is control R. Use this option often so that you will be get familiar with the shortcut key. Then you can gradually switch to the shortcut key without going to this. Okay, now there is a loop created here. So how this loop works, let's switch to the face selection mode by clicking 3 and see how this is splits the whole object into two. Okay, now I want to make a round edge around here. So let's go to edge select and say G and grab. Let's go to top view and see bit clear. See, this is how it influences. So I just selected a face and just grabbed it, so it just changes. Okay, similarly, you while modeling any object in Blender, you have to think in terms of vertices, edges and face, how to manipulate it based on object you want to create. So I entered little bit here. So to smoothen the edge, so I need a round edge here. So let's select the edge again and go to bevel. So the shortcut key is control B, but you can select here, and let's go to top view again for a clear view and see how much. So I leave some space here for the corner bevel. For now I'll just put up to this, and when you release the balloon you have option here. So let's see what happens if we increase the segments. Now you can see how this makes the magic. Okay, so usually above 6 sections if you put, it doesn't give much difference. If I zoom in and see, after 6 it's too fine, but you won't be able to see it in zoomed out position, so you can leave it as it is. So anything above 6 is not nothing much. Okay, and let's put the corners also to round. Okay, you can now, to select multiple edges, you can click on shift and select. Now both edges are selected. Yeah, this gives a better view. And yeah, same thing, 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, now this is, yeah, looks better. Now let's come back to, now we have the edges here, so we want to replicate it around here and on the opposite side. So for that you can go to mirror modifier. Mirror modifier, what it does is, so you can go to modifier here, add modifier and mirror. So you can see here mirror modifier copies based on the axis. Okay, now it copied based on x, so either of this it works, so that is fine, but we don't have the round edges here. So for that you have to select bisect as well. So now you can see the difference. So if we go zoomed in position, so first it gives the round edge of this, and it also gives the round edge of this. So based on the visual result, you have to try out things. Okay, now we have the tray. Let's go to object mode. Yeah, this looks good, but these sharp edges are there. Let's try to smoothen it. Select the object, shade smooth, but if you see, it's not exactly what we expected, right? It's smoothened a lot of things. So for that you can go to object data properties, normals, see the difference now. So what it does is it actually smooths all the edges on all angle levels. So we don't want that. We want only to smoothen certain angles. So this 330-degree default value is pretty useful. So now you see the table is much more fine. Okay, now we have finished the table. So similar principle we will use for the flower vase object. Okay, so we can use the cylinder as the basic geometry shape for this. So shift A is for select or add. Okay, so shift A, add a mesh, that's cylinder. Let's press on G and grab it up, and S for scale and reduce it to a certain level. Okay, and grab it around here. Okay, now let's go to the edit mode of this object. Let's do a loop cut, because loop cut helps us to bring this nice curvature here. Okay, so we need a loop around here for the bottom edge, and maybe another one around here. Yeah, should be fine. Okay, let's play around with this. Okay, let's go for edge selection. So okay, it's an edge select mode. To select the complete loop, this one you can select on alt and left click. So now see the edge is selected. Let's go back to the model preview. Now you can say size it. So since it is cylindrical object, you have to be careful, because if you do it in one axis, now that will be a disaster. So we want it in all three uniform, you can say. Okay, now this is fine. And we may want to put one more loop cut for the you know, a reduction here, phase reduction. So let's put one more loop cut around here. Yeah, that should be fine. Now we will go for 3, that's phase selection, and reduce the size of it on all directions. So select the white wheel and reduce it. Okay, now we have the basic shape of it, but we want to smoothen it. So we will go crazy with the bevel modifier, or bevel option here. Sorry, it's not the modifier, it's just the bevel option. Now again loop select, but now I have phase selection. I have to switch back to edge selection, alt left click, loop select. Okay, now let's add some curvature to it. Okay, now this one, another loop selection. Yeah, looks fine. Oh, 6. Okay, now see it's coming up to a nice shape. Yeah, I think we pretty much, I think we achieved it. Maybe it has to be elongated a little bit. Let's go back to object mode, size of it, and a little bit expand it. Right, that looks, yeah, not exactly the same, but yeah, we kind of achieved it. Let's shade it smooth. Again, you know what happened here. Go to object data properties, normals, and auto smooth. Okay, now it's a flower vase, right? So we want an opening here. So let's go back to edit mode. So we want to delete this face. This is a face. Select 3, click on the face and say delete faces. Okay, now it is deleted. Since it's a flower vase, we will need some kind of thickness. So say select all, clicking by A, and you have an extrude option here. Click it, long press, and you will get option called extrude along normals. Okay, and pull the balloon icon here, so you can see how it goes. So we don't want it up around above, we want it inside. So yeah, let's give some thickness. To confirm, you can go for select all and go for wireframe mode, and you will be able to see if it is exactly added a thickness all over the place. Okay, I will switch back to the normal model view and go back to edit mode from, no, sorry, from edit mode to object mode. Now we have finished the flower vase. So looks fine. Let's build the torch. Okay, now the next one, we'll do a simple torch. It's easier than the flower vase. Shift A, cylinder. Let's resize it and elongate it a little bit. Reduce it, elongate it, only through this axis. Move it up using G option. Okay, a little bit reduce the size. Okay, now let's go to edit mode. It's a torch, right? So you need a opening like this. So for that, you can go for face selection and extrude region, not the normals, just the extrude region option. Extrude it a little bit and say select yes, and increase the size of this face on all directions. Now you have the basic torch. Just one thing, you need a button. So let's go back to the object mode. There is an option for that. That's called add cube. So what it does is it actually gives you a quick option to add a cube on the surface. So if you see the surface, the selection is changing. So similarly, if I come here, see it changes. So let's put a uh, yeah, cube here. Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah, that's good. Okay, now let's do smooth edge. You know what's the problem here? Object data properties auto smooth. Yeah. Okay, now we have created two or three objects in Blender. You can rename these things, you know. Okay, it's a torch, it's a flower vase. Okay, and this okay, now see this cube has moved, so there is an option for that. I'll tell you, just a moment. Let me place it within the cube. Okay, there is an option to keep these two together. That's called parenting. Let me quickly show you that, and that we can finish this video. So for that, which one you want it as a parent, that should be the selected as last, or in other terms, that should be the active object. Okay, in your system, when you select two objects like this using shift, you might see in a different color, or maybe not in a more contrast color. The reason is I have changed it for the active object. uh, I have prepared a separate video for that. It's already there in my channel, so I'll give you the link in the description. So along with that color change, a lot of useful color changes you can do. I have covered a few things on that, so you can check it out. So now we have two objects selected. You can see this is also selected, the torch is also selected. Okay, there is let's rename this, put it as button. Okay, now let's select both. Okay, now this torch is the active object, and this is selected along with that. And when you have the parent object as selected, click Ctrl P and this option will pop up. So that means this object is parented. Now if I go and move this, the switch also moves along with it. Okay, so this is useful. But if you move the cube, it still moves out. So it has its independence, but it also follows the parent object. Okay, so this is useful when you have multiple objects combined to create one single model. So now we have seen a lot of things today. So please try at home to try different objects. You can go to this free website called Pixabay or any other copyright free image providing most websites, and you can try to create those objects in Blender. Okay, and for the assignment, I would like to give you one object to model by yourself. uh, so this is a small simple table which is in my home. So I just try to build this in Blender. I created it, and along with textures means the colors and wooden material here. So you don't worry about the textures for now. I'll cover that in the next video. For now, just try to model this table in Blender. So this pretty much covers the same thing what we explained here. Be it the rectangle table tray or the flower vase, you will be using the same principles here and create this. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same design. So you can give your own design here. So as long as it has a cylindrical legs and table tray shaped surfaces here, it's completely fine. So just try to do this on your own. So I'll give you the link to this image in the description, and I will put up a separate video this as an intermediate level, as a separate video, not part of this part 7 series. So today we have seen a lot of things. Yeah, it's quite a lot. We have modeled a few objects, also changed one settings, and we have also seen how the smooth curvatures and all we can achieve along with the shade smooth options. Okay, so next video we will see more about textures, and finally we go into animation. We will be using the same objects for that. I'll will go deep into that in further coming videos. If you like this video, please put a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. We have a lot of exciting contents coming for you. If you have any questions, any doubts while following this video, or any other questions you have in Blender, so please feel free to put it in the comment section. I will get back to you as soon as possible. See you in the next video. Take care.